Alright, hey, what's up, guys? I'm a little worried about you guys as far as like half-lives and compound interest that's not continuous. So I'm gonna do a video that's just optional. I suggest you guys watch it to help you study. So here it goes. Okay, so this is the first problem that I have just made up for you guys. So C4, which is the stuff they use to make explosives. C4 is used for explosives. They have a best by date due to their half-lives. If we have 300 grams of C4, a half-life of C4 is 80 years. How long will it take for 300 grams of C4 to become only 230 grams of C4, the lowest amount needed in this case to cause an explosion? Okay, so let's use our half-life formula, which would be A equals P, and then I have E to the negative K T. And the reason why it's negative is because it's a decay, right? You're losing the efficiency of the carbon, like it's dying off. It's a half-life, so it's like the rate is going away, right? It's not growing, it's decreasing. So it's a negative K to the T, so a negative rate. Okay, so what I'm looking at is this. I see that I have 300 grams, okay, so 300 grams, and that's what I started with, so that's going to end up being here. Okay, then I have negative K, but I don't know what the rate is right now, so that's a question mark. And I do know the time it takes for well, let's see. I see that there's 80 years, but that's for a half-life, so I don't necessarily know what the rate is, and I don't know the time either. So when I see that I don't know the rate and I don't know the time, then in that situation this becomes a more complicated half-life situation. So what I need to do is step 1, find rate. Okay, and I can find the rate by assuming that there's 100 grams, or assuming that there's 300. Okay, so it's up to you as to what you want to assume. I'm just going to assume 100, and this will help me find my rate. Okay, so I'm assuming there's 100 grams of C4 and I want to find the rate. So it would be 100 is my starting amount. Then I have E to the negative K, right? I don't know the rate, but I do know the time. So in this situation, I am going to consider one half-life. So it says that half-life is 80 years. So right here, I know this is 80 years. So if 80 years passes, and originally I had 100 grams of C4, how much do I have now? 50, right? So I have 50 grams, and now I can just go ahead and divide. I get, and I'll switch over to blue to show my next step. It's 50 over 100 is equal to E to the negative 80 K. Okay. Alright, so from here, all I need to do is just take logs. This I'm just going to write as 0.5. And I'm going to take the ln of both sides. So I have ln of E to the negative 80K. And I forgot to switch back to black, so let's switch back to black. I'm going to go ahead and solve for this. Well, ln of E is really just log base E of E. So I have it inverse here, check mark, it's gone. I have negative 8K, and that's equal to, well, let me go ahead and pull up this calculator. So over here I have ln of 0.5, and that gave me negative 0.693. So I'll put negative 0.693, and from there I want to divide by negative 8 on both sides. So I divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8, and that should give me a solution. So let's pull it up on the calculator. Okay, so I pulled it up on the calculator. 0.693 divided by 8. Actually, I should probably check that this is true. I have 0.693 divided by 8, and I already canceled out the negatives here, so I do get K is equal to 0.086. k is equal to 0.086. Okay, cool. So we are good. We found the rate, so we know the rate now. This is going to be 0.086. In other words, that's really just 8.6%. Okay. Alright, so now we need to find the next part, which is I want to find the time. Well, I have the rate, right? That's good. I have the original amount I have, which was 300. I would know the amount that I want to have now, which is 230. But now I just need to find this guy. I need to find the time. So I'm going to go ahead and plug stuff in again. Okay, so now I have A is equal to, oops, I don't need A anymore. How much do I have now? Well, I have 230, right? Because it says, how long will it take for it to become 230 grams? Well, I want to figure out when it's at 230. I started off with 300 grams. Then I have E to the negative 0.086 times T. And I want to find T. So all I have to do is divide by 230. I'll write my next step here. 230 divided by 300 is equal to E to the negative 0.086 T. Alright, good. Now I can take the ln, same as last time. ln of 230 over 300. I would find that as a decimal first and then punch it in. And then I have cancellation over here, ln of E of negative 0.086 T. Well, this cancels out and I'm just left with that. And let me go ahead and do some calculations. Alright, so I went ahead and took the ln of 230 over 300 and I got 0.76. Actually, let me check. Okay, so as you can see, I'm kind of messing up in this video because I'm just too tired. So what it really should be is that the 0.76 was 230 over 300. So it's the ln of 0.76. And then what you're going to do next is this becomes negative 0.265. So it's negative 0.265, which is equal to negative 0.086T. Alright, good. Now just divide on both sides, and I'll pause and do the calculation. Okay, so when I did this, I realized I must have made a mistake. So I went back, and hopefully you caught this in my video, but you know, if you didn't, then that's fine because it took me a while to figure out what I did wrong. Notice that this is negative 80, and this right here is negative 8. Yeah, so it should be negative 80. And if you follow along, here's negative 80. Right, then you divide by negative 8, 80 on both sides, and you should have gotten 0.0086, which is the same thing as 0.86%. Okay, so I'm going to do all the corrections in green. Alright, so over here, what you should have is 0.0086. 0.0086. And from here you should also have 0.0086. Now when you divide by that amount, you should get 30.08. Okay? And that means that after 30 years, it should be 30.8, sorry, 30.8. After 30.8 years, then you have it. Alright, so try doing this problem again and confirming that my answers are right. Ultimately, it's just, man, that really is painful because for me to like mess up early on and forget the 0 on that like hurts a lot, right? So ultimately, I think like on your test, like if you do something like that, I'm not going to be super like mean about it. Just be careful with those sorts of things. Like I don't know, I just probably didn't sleep enough, and that's why I messed that up. So let me put in a new problem, and it'll be a compounding problem. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one before I finish this up. On the left, we have $700 in a bank account that compounds continuously. when you see the word compounding continuously, you have to think of A equals P e to the RT. Okay, PERT. Now, in this case, you have to remember the other one. You put $700 in a bank account that compounds monthly. When you see something like monthly, weekly, daily, or quarterly, in those situations, you have to use this formula, which is A equals P parentheses 1 plus R over N to the power of NT. Okay, where N is, what it is, how many times is compounding in a year. So let's do this first one, right? It'll be $700 e to the R, which would be 0.02 times 3, which is 3 years. Okay, and that would be solved out, and you get a number solution. Now you can do the same thing on this side, on the right hand side, and fill everything in. Well, you have A, which is equal to P, which is $700, parentheses 1 plus, what's my rate? My rate is 0.02 divided by N. Well, N is told right here. It's always what this is. So if it's monthly, how many times a year does that happen in? How many times does that happen in a year? 12 times. So you divide by 12 here to the power of 12 times t, which is 3 years. So when you plug these in, you get a value, and you can do that on your own, and you can check to see that this one should be bigger than this one, or sorry, other way around. This one should be bigger than that, because ultimately if it's compounding continuously, it means that it's giving interest fast, whereas in this one it's compounding every month. Okay, so go ahead, plug those into your calculators and give it a try. Just remember that you can email me anytime on Monday if you want to see me. Well, there isn't really a chance to see me on Monday. I'm not gonna give you guys more than 10 minutes for any questions, because the test is 19 questions and there'll need to be a lot of time for the test. Other than that, Friday I'm gonna be here till 4:30 maybe. I'll just keep staying as long as you guys want me to, as long as it's not like past like 6. Okay, alright, good luck, goodbye.